Privacy in Motion explores how your personal data fuels billion-dollar systems, while examining who controls the rules of digital privacy and what it truly means to own and protect your identity.
Do you think the average person cares a lot about their digital privacy?
No, because I think they know that they're cooked regardless.
As someone who is very active on social media and creating content is a part of my job.
Yeah.
Putting my face on the internet, there's a huge risk that someone could manipulate my data.
Are you using any incognito mode or using Brave? Are you doing anything?
I use ad blocking software. I don't use a VPN, but I use uBlock Origin, and I try to stay on top of it with Chrome and Firefox, switching between the two depending on what I'm doing.
Almost everybody knows how to use incognito mode, right? Why? Why? Because it's the privacy not from Google. Google knows what you're doing when you're using incognito mode. It's the privacy from the people in your house, right? And people are extremely attuned to the privacy from their parents, from their significant other, from their children. The privacy of, okay, am I private from some, customer support agent in Menlo Park? Most people are inferring that, like, look, I'm not private from them, but I don't care.
Hasib, tell us about your personal approach to privacy.
Well, given that I'm somebody who is a public figure within crypto, a lot of people are paying attention to both my on-chain wallets as well as my own kind of physical personal privacy. I'm an investor. And as an investor, it's important to be putting out there a message, to have a brand. You can't really do it as an anon. I tweet a lot. I tweet very actively. I share a lot of my thoughts on a lot of podcasts. But I don't talk a lot about my life. I don't talk about where I am. I don't talk about my, other people in my life. I don't talk about my personal relationships. All of these things are, they're necessary costs of building a business in this space, but you only need to incur as many costs as are actually necessary.
So when you think about your data, you got a lot of accounts. Is it $10 a month? Is it $100 a month? What's your price to license all your data?
I mean, I think it's priceless, honestly, but there could be some arrangements made to have like a fixed price, I guess.
If you were to predict how much Facebook makes off of you each month, what would that number be?
Me personally?
Yeah.
Maybe like a 1,000 or so, I don't know.
It's difficult for people to be able to price their own data or to get paid for their own data individually. If you think about what's the ARPU, the average revenue per user of a company like Facebook, it's maybe like $10. And that's aggregating over all users, right? Which means that half users are more than that, half users are less than that. It's really hard for me to sell you a piece of wood. That doesn't mean that wood isn't valuable. It's actually very obviously valuable. It's one of the most important resources we have in the world. But in order to sell wood, you need to have a lot of wood and to have it standardized. Can I sell you this piece of wood, or can I sell you this piece of data? Here's my data that I want to sell to you. There's a lot of weird effects you get of things like adverse selection, of just the size being difficult to actually price at a certain scale. So that's why, although as a VC, it's a tantalizing idea that people can get paid for their data, the practical reality is that it's actually really hard to make these markets work without a lot of aggregation, which is effectively what these companies are doing in the first place.
When you look at projects and you're thinking whether or not to put money in, how important is it to, one, understand how the projects you're investing in understand users and are protecting them? And then secondly, are you investing in privacy-related companies?
So we've invested in some privacy-related companies. When we're looking at a company, we're always thinking about, will users actually be comfortable with this level of disclosure about their assets, about their positions, about their, very often we're looking at things like DeFi or trading. And these are places where you can see there's a lot of user sensitivity to what is being disclosed about me. If I make this transaction, are people going to know? Are they going to see? Are they going to follow my addresses, my wallets? There are times when this transparency in crypto is good. There are times when it's shining the spotlight on market fairness. At the same time, there's a lot of bad activity that is enabled because of the fact that people can't actually remain private and have a lot of their information disclosed. If you really do want to be private, not just like performatively private, but actually private, it comes at a high cost. When the privacy gets cheap enough, such that users will not notice the cost, and people feel freaked out of the sense of, oh, wow, actually, there is somebody looking over your shoulder all the time. Chain analysis sees everything, and they actually can tell what's going on. That will be the moment where I think privacy tech could be a real, you turn the switch on and everybody moves to privacy overnight.
And you as an investor, are you waiting for that moment?
I'm excited for that moment, but I think it's very clear that moment is not here yet. And pretending the moment is here when it's not is a recipe for a failed investment. When the tech gets good enough, gets cheap enough, then we will eventually arrive at that moment where you can actually flip the switch and turn everything private.
If capital shapes what we build and who we are, then our apps are how we express ourselves. Those tools have often been extractive and occasionally destructive. Do we need to rewrite the internet from the ground up? And if so, who can we trust to stand up for all of us in the face of big tech's advertising ATM?